What was supposed to be just a routine interview quickly turned into a wake-up call inside the Ravens locker room. DeAndre Hopkins, fresh off signing with Baltimore, dropped a line that nobody expected to hear, and it caught everyone off guard. It wasn't a jab, but there was no beating around the bush either. It was a kind of comment that sets off a yellow flag in the locker room, shakes up team morale, and piles on pressure before the season even kicks off. But the most striking thing wasn't what he said, it was how he said it. Straight up, no filter, with a clear message. Either this team figures out now, or they're going to keep running into the same wall. That comment sparked conversations behind the scenes, forced the coaching staff to take a stance, and put even more weight on Lamar Jackson's shoulders. The question everyone's asking now is, did Hopkins really come to be the missing piece, or did he just expose a bigger problem? There's a lot more behind that statement than meets the eye, and you're going to get every detail right here. Because if that statement shook things up in Baltimore's back offices, the impact on the field could be even bigger. Stick around until the end, because what started as one phrase turned into a real challenge to the entire team. Hopkins didn't even need to step on the field to already rattle the Ravens' locker room. Before even starting practice with the team, he was asked what he thought about Baltimore from an outsider's perspective. After all, he's faced the Ravens many times with other teams. His answer was so blunt, it almost sounded harsh. It seems like there's always been a piece missing. I could be that piece, or I might not be. It's the kind of honesty that, while uncomfortable, reveals exactly what a lot of people were thinking but too afraid to say out loud. That statement hit Baltimore's pride hard. Players and coaches were caught off guard because Hopkins basically laid it out straight. The team hasn't convinced anyone yet that they're complete enough to win a Super Bowl. For those grinding inside every day, hearing that can sting. But Hopkins isn't naive. He knows he's stepping in as a guy expected to change the story. He put that responsibility on the table, raw and real. At the same time, it was a crucial message, because if there's one thing the Ravens need to take the next step, it's exactly this dose of reality. They've spent years putting up solid seasons, winning tough regular season games, but always stumbling when the stakes were highest. Maybe Hopkins' bluntness was the push the team needed to stop fooling themselves and admit there really is more to build. What's most interesting is that, despite dropping this bombshell, Hopkins wasn't trying to disrespect anyone. On the contrary, he put himself right in the middle of the problem by saying he could, or might not, be the solution, and that also raises expectations on him. Now the big question is, will Lamar Jackson trust him enough to turn that honesty into chemistry on the field? That's where things get even more intriguing. Even after that comment shook the locker room, the Ravens don't seem worried at all about Hopkins and Lamar Jackson clicking right away. Quarterbacks coach T. Martin was crystal clear, saying he fully believes a connection will happen immediately. For him, it's not just about talent. It's about fit. Hopkins is the kind of receiver who makes a QB's life easier. Big, strong, with huge hands, and able to win contested catches. That gives Lamar huge confidence. He can throw the ball even with tight coverage. That confidence from the coaching staff also comes from Hopkins' track record. He's built a career as the go-to guy in clutch moments because he rarely fails on contested balls. The Ravens see this as a golden opportunity for Lamar to take his passing game to the next level. He won't have to hesitate so much before risking a bold throw because he knows Hopkins will be there to make the play. Plus, Hopkins himself arrives hungry to prove he's still one of the league's best. After years with teams that weren't playoff contenders, he wants to show he can be a game changer on a strong roster. It creates a perfect scenario. A dynamic MVP QB who always needed a top target now gets a wide receiver hungry for a title. The chances of this duo clicking right away are sky high. But talent and trust are one thing. Actual results are another. And if there's one thing that could completely change a Ravens offense, it's the impact Hopkins will have on the entire system. That's where things get even more exciting. With Hopkins on the roster, the Ravens offense finally looks balanced for real. Everyone knew Baltimore was dangerous mostly because of Lamar's running ability and the ground game. When the playoffs came around, defenses would just pack the box, daring the Ravens to beat them through the air, and often it worked. But now, they can't defend like that anymore. If they stack up players to stop Lamar on the ground, They leave space out wide where Hopkins thrives on punishing defenses. This also benefits Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. The tight end will have way more freedom to attack the middle of the field, since defenses will have to stick close to Hopkins. Flowers, who's already explosive, can take advantage of looser coverage as defenses focus more on the veteran. Bottom line, the whole system improves because defensive attention is spread out. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken will have a much bigger playbook to confuse rival defenses in multiple ways. Another key effect is how it could help Lamar last longer through the season. With more reliable options to throw to, he won't have to run as much or pull off miracles every drive to keep moving the chains. That means arriving in December and January healthier, with less wear and tear. Those little things make a big difference in playoff games that often come down to one possession. But while offense wins games, defense usually wins championships. And on the other side of the ball, the Ravens also made big moves this offseason, fixing their biggest headache from last year.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Last year made one thing painfully clear. The Ravens' pass rush just couldn't deliver when it mattered most. In those key games against Buffalo and Philadelphia, the team managed a combined total of only 5 pressures. That's downright embarrassing for a squad that bills itself as a Super Bowl contender. But 2025 promises to tell a very different story. The addition of Jaire Alexander was a final piece to a secondary that was already strong, but needed a true shutdown corner to intimidate opposing quarterbacks. This upgrade in coverage has a direct ripple effect on the defensive line. When the opposing QB has to hold the ball longer, because no one gets open fast, the pass rushers get those precious extra seconds to close in. It's classic teamwork that makes the entire defense elevate together. And Baltimore didn't stop there. The front office went after depth, brought in players to rotate, and made sure they won't run out of steam late in big games. Analyst Field Yates summed it up perfectly. He doesn't see a single position on this roster that isn't good enough to compete for a championship. That's huge. On paper, the Ravens now have no more excuses like, we're missing this or that. They've got an MVP QB, a multi-weapon offense, and a defense that could easily rank in the league's top 3 if everything clicks. Now, with this kind of roster, the pressure on the players and Coach Harbaugh skyrockets. If there's nothing left to add, if the team is truly complete, then the no excuses label sticks for good, and that changes everything about what's coming next. When a team gets tagged as no excuses, it means the ceiling becomes a requirement. The fans, the media, everyone expects Baltimore to be playing for the Lombardi Trophy in February. There's no more falling short in the divisional round and saying, oh, but we needed another receiver, or our pass rush didn't show up. Everything is in place now. That ramps up the pressure in the locker room, and they'll have to prove themselves on the field. On the flip side, this pressure can also be the fuel the team needs. Competitive players thrive under that kind of weight because they know if it works out, they'll be remembered forever. Lamar Jackson, for example, has never had a clearer chance to prove he's more than just a highlight reel runner. He could be the leader who carries the entire team to a championship. For Hopkins, it's the opportunity to crown a Hall of Fame-worthy career with the title that's always eluded him. Keeping the team healthy will be crucial. All the pieces won't mean much if key players go down in October or November. The Ravens need to lock in one of the best regular season records to earn home field advantage in the playoffs and avoid hostile environments in Buffalo or Kansas City. That means no slacking off in any game, even against weaker opponents. That's exactly what makes this season so special. It's all or nothing. And now I want to know, with all these changes and no more excuses, do you believe the Ravens will finally raise the trophy this year? Tell me in the comments, because this is Baltimore's moment of truth. At the end of the day, Hopkins' statement spelled out what we all already knew. The Ravens were missing that last piece to take the final step. Now, with this roster built, there are no more excuses. The team is ready, The defense strengthened, and Lamar is everything he needs to lead the squad to a championship. This season can't be like the others. Baltimore either wins or becomes another disappointment in the franchise's history. The pressure is on everyone, players, coaches, and fans alike. So here's the question for you, Ravens fan. Do you believe this team will finally hoist a Lombardi trophy? Or is it going to be another year stuck wanting more? Drop your opinion in the comments. The time is now, and the future of the Ravens depends on it.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself. See you there, and until the next video, go Flock.